Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fazila and you're tuning into Fazila Reads. Today's episode is going to be a dedicated review for Nexus Point by Pimpinella. Thank you so much to Escapist Booktubers and Pimpinella for sending me a physical review copy of this book. This is the very first review copy that I've ever received in my life. Being an international reader, I have never had the chance to get any physical review copies. It's also very hard to get indie and self-pub books here, so when I got this book, I was over the moon. I know for a fact that Nexus Point will always be special to me because of this. The other cool thing is it came signed by the author, and I also received a bookmark and a book card along with it. So here's my very first physical review copy of a book, and it comes, sorry, I'm doing this one handed, and it comes signed. Also, I have a bookmark and a book card that came along with it. So Nexus Point is the first book in the Time Ranger series by Pimpinella. This is an indie sci-fi book with time travel, high stakes, and time-altering events that are going to give you the most entertaining and a thrilling reading experience. The story is set in the late 22nd century, where Time Rangers use time travel to go back in history and capture the rogue time travelers. Now, these time travelers are threatening the future by changing the regular timeline of events. Our protagonist, Kai Sawyer, is one of the Time Rangers in this book. He is also the son of the Rear Admiral, who is a prominent member of the Time Ranger unit, kind of like the royalty of the Time Ranger unit and the Academy. And Kai is also a genetically enhanced human who is known as Spawn in this world. Because of his improved skills and special talents, he gets to work on the more important missions. And this book is about Kai's journey as a Time Ranger and the various assignments he takes on to save the future of their world. The world building aspect of this book was fascinating. The technology, the setting, and the mystery surrounding the time traveling were very exciting. I loved knowing all the details regarding the conception of the world. Also, the idea of the rogue travelers who were corrupting and altering timelines for various reasons, especially selfish reasons, added the right kind of tension and also increased the stakes and the urgency needed for the thrilling aspect of the book. Really enjoyed that part. The author's experience in the military also did really shine through in a lot of moments, and it was amazing to see. So, our main character is Kai, and because of the circumstances surrounding his birth, he feels more like an instrument in a grand plan rather than his own person. He's used to being the pawn or a puppet, especially being controlled by his power hungry father, and all of this brings lots of tension and difficulty throughout his journey. Also, his trauma filled past makes his life very hard for him, especially when he gets into aggressive and combative situations. His volatile personality combined with his anger issues and daddy issues present him with a lot of challenges, and as he takes on the bigger roles and responsibilities, this becomes one of the biggest roadblock to his journey. His sense of duty and wanting to follow the rules in order to protect the people and also the mission was really wonderfully portrayed. Some of the different aspects of his personality and his internal struggle were well realized and thought out. His rather turbulent relationship with his father and his drive to be the best, despite his father's involvement in his job opportunities, were also very well portrayed. But other times he was like at odds with how he should be behaving and how he felt about things. This often made him seem like a naive soldier, constantly questioning his superiors and higher officials. Taking orders without questioning is something that he was trained to do, but every time you see him in a situation where he used to follow these instructions or orders, he was constantly challenging their authority. It didn't exactly match up to what he was as a person, and I think that kind of gave me a little bit of a pause. And so often these interactions made me feel like it was kind of forced, and it also felt a little bit unnatural for me. Personally, I thought it didn't make sense, especially given how he is to be portrayed. I guess it didn't match up with his personality. As a character, I could see his potential and also the author's intent, but there were times I was really annoyed. I know that was intentional on the author's part, but for me, they were still a bit out of place. I would have loved to see a lot more of his interactions with his friends and more moments with his team members, especially on a lot of these missions that we have Kai going on. It would have been nicer to see the dynamics also between the different team members and how they grew close together, because eventually some fallouts do happen, and we don't know why Kai is feeling a certain way about those particular fallouts, especially given very little time to develop their interactions or their relationship. It would have been nicer to see the dynamics between the team members and how they grew closer together. Just told this is how he feels, and he was close to them. You don't get to see it on paper. The other thing I would have loved to see more of is the assignments Kai was on. So the reason I mentioned this is because you hear and see an abridged version of all the events. So for me, seeing it in full detail with more chances for the team members to grow and work together would have been wonderful. The assignments we're talking about in particular are one of the famous ship that sinks and an assassination of a very famous leader. Now the final assignment is very much detailed, and that was how I wanted it for the others too. And I saw lots of reviewers saying that it could have been a lot more shorter. I obviously disagree with that. I think it's more of a personal preference rather than a flaw within the narrative. But, it didn't work for me because of those reasons. But other than that, I think it was well executed. When it comes to the pacing of the book, the author maintained relatively good pacing throughout the book, including slower moments and faster, exciting sequences as well. The rapid plot progression added to the exciting adventure feel of the story overall. The ending was very mysterious. I am also very curious to see the path Kai will be taking in the upcoming books. The possibilities for the upcoming books, I think, are endless with a lot of plot points that we have unresolved in this particular book. And that epilogue has left me with more questions than answers, and so I want them like right now. Overall, I really had a good time with this book. It was fun, exciting, and kept me invested in Kai's journey despite the few criticisms that I had. I was thoroughly fascinated by the unique setting and the inventive concepts. If you enjoy a high stakes adventure story featuring time traveling concepts that are primarily plot driven with a touch of mystery as well, definitely check out this book. I gave the book 3 to 3.5 stars and can't wait to see what the author has in store for us in the upcoming books. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.